Welcome to Sciasy, Rex. Your simulation begins now. You open your eyes to the soft, warm glow of the Hearthfire Inn. It is 8 o'clock in the morning, and the smell of freshly baked bread and roasted roots fills the air. You are sitting at a sturdy wooden table in the corner of the common room. Outside the window, a light rain taps gently against the glass, blurring the view of the surrounding wilderness of Kalen. You take a moment to check your inventory dimension via your interface. You find that you have been equipped with a minor healing potion and a novice robe of vitality. You also sense a new spell in your mind, a necrotic invocation known as Decay Bolt. It hums with a dark yet familiar energy, ready to be cast at your command. A stout figure bustles over to your table, wiping his hands on a stained apron. It is Thalgor Ironbrew, a ground dwarf with a beard the color of dried mud and a friendly, if somewhat worried, expression. "Good morning to you, traveler. I hope the teleport sickness wasn't too bad on your arrival. Listen, I hate to bother a paying customer so early, but I am in a bit of a bind. My cellar has been overrun by pests, and I am not talking about the usual beetles. I need someone with a bit of magical talent to handle it." You lean back in your chair, the wood creaking slightly under your weight, and ask Thalgor Ironbrew for more specifics about the infestation. You want to know exactly what you are walking into before you commit to a fight in a confined space. Aye, fair question, Master Dwarf. These aren't your garden variety rodents. They are giant rat S, likely twisted by some leakage from the Lab Alpha 9 ruins nearby. They are aggressive, about the size of a wolf, and hungry. They chewed right through a mana-shielded pantry door last night. I sent my assistant down there earlier, and he came back with his boots shredded. They seem to be nesting near the old drainage pipes. Just be careful. Their bites are nasty, and they are fast. If you can clear them out, the ring of focus is yours, along with a warm meal on the house. Thalgor wipes a spot on the table nervously, waiting for your decision. The sounds of rain outside intensify slightly, drumming a rhythm against the roof of the Hearthfire Inn. You give a firm nod to Thalgor Ironbrew, assuring him that you will handle the infestation. "Music to my ears!" Thalgor exclaims, clapping his dusty hands together. "The cellar door is just behind the bar. Go get him, and try not to break too many casks." You walk behind the heavy oak counter and pull open the reinforced wooden door. A rush of stale, cool air greets you, carrying the scent of damp earth, vinegar, and something distinctly furry. You descend the creaking wooden stairs into the darkness, the ambient monolights flickering weakly against the stone walls. At the bottom, the cellar opens up into a cluttered storage area, filled with barrels and crates. Scurrying sounds echo off the low ceiling. Suddenly, 3 pairs of red eyes flash in the gloom. The pests are larger than you imagined. Wolf-sized monstrosities with matted gray fur and oversized incisors dripping with saliva. They are Scabshank, Mucktooth, and Festertail. They don't scurry away. Instead, they hiss aggressively, sensing an intruder in their new territory.
Hiss, fresh meat, gnaw, crush, bone.
The creatures lunge forward, cutting off your path to the stairs. You are now in combat. You steady your footing on the damp cellar floor, the smell of vinegar and wet fur heavy in your nostrils. Focusing your mind, you channel the dark energies of the necrotic school. A swirling orb of entropic green light forms in your palm as you target the largest of the vermin, Scabshank. Rot and wither. You unleash the Decay Bolt, sending the streak of necrotic energy flying across the dimly lit room. Guided by a stroke of luck, the bolt slams directly into Scabshank, inflicting 1.94 damage. The necrotic magic instantly withers its flesh, and the large rat collapses to the flagstones, defeated. Flanking the corpse of their leader, Mucktooth and Festertail bare their yellowed fangs and rush towards you, closing the distance with terrifying speed. The combat has begun in earnest, though one foe has already fallen. With Scabshank defeated, you immediately pivot your attention to the remaining threats. The autopilot instinct takes over, calculating the most efficient path to survival. You lock eyes with Mucktooth, raising your hand to channel the entropic energies once more. You cast Decay Bolt, sending a streak of withering green light hurtling across the cellar, but the agile creature twists away at the last second. You watch as the spell is evaded completely, splashing harmlessly against the wall for 0 damage. Sensing the danger and eager to avenge their pack leader, Mucktooth and Festertail scramble over the damp stone floor, closing the distance rapidly. They rush toward you, gnashing their teeth, attempting to get within striking range for their infected bite. You do not waver, despite the proximity of the vermin. Focusing on Festertail, you weave the necromantic threads together. With a sharp gesture, you launch a decay bolt at the creature's flank, but the rat proves surprisingly agile, twisting its body midair to evade the dark projectile completely. Simultaneously, both Mucktooth and Festertail spring forward, snapping their jaws in a coordinated attack within 1 meter of you.
Tasty dwarf meat.
You manage to sidestep Mucktooth's clumsy lunge, causing its jaws to snap shut on empty air. However, Festertail finds an opening, sinking its infected bite into your novice robe of vitality for 1.66 damage. You are locked in a desperate struggle in the damp cellar of the Hearthfire Inn, with 4.34 health remaining. Ignoring the stinging wound from Festertail, you pivot slightly to realign your aim on Mucktooth. The creature hisses, saliva dripping from its jaws onto the damp stones. You channel the dark energy of the necrotic school, your hand glowing with an eerie green light. "Rot, you filthy pest!" You thrust your palm forward, launching another decay bolt. The bolt strikes true, dealing 1.94 damage and causing Mucktooth to shriek as its flesh withers. The rodent collapses, defeated. Even as it falls, however, it manages to sink its teeth into you with a final infected bite, dealing 1.66 damage. Festertail tries to capitalize on the moment, snapping and clawing with its own infected bite, but you deftly evade the attack, leaving the creature biting at empty air. With Mucktooth down, only one foe remains in the damp cellar of the Hearthfire Inn. You pivot to face Festertail, who is snarling and ready to strike. You channel the dark energies of the necrotic magic school once more, your hand crackling with entropic power. "Just you left now, vermin, time to rot." You unleash the decay bolt at point-blank range. The green energy streaks towards the giant rat, withering its flesh for 1.94 damage. Festertail does not go quietly. It leaps forward in a final frenzy, jaws gaping wide to deliver a nasty infected bite. However, you anticipate the desperate lunge and step aside, evading the attack completely. Overcome by the necrotic rot, the creature collapses mid-stride, lifeless. You take a moment to catch your breath in the quiet dampness of the cellar. The 3 beasts lie still at your feet. Remembering Thalgor Ironbrew's request for proof, you quickly harvest a giant rat tail from each of the carcasses. With the grim trophies secured in your inventory, you ascend the creaking stairs back to the warmth of the common room. The tavern is still relatively empty at 8:30 in the morning, save for a few early risers nursing mugs of herbal tea. Thalgor Ironbrew looks up from polishing a glass as you approach, his eyes widening slightly as you place the tails on the counter. By the stone, you actually did it. I heard the commotion down there and feared the worst. You have done me a great service, friend. He sweeps the tails away with a rag and reaches under the counter, pulling out a small, simple band of polished iron that hums with a faint resonance. He hands it to you. Here is the ring of focus I promised. It should help you keep your mind sharp when channeling spells. Now, about those rats. They looked twisted, didn't they? If they are coming from the ruins, we might have a bigger problem brewing. Thalgor leans in closer, lowering his voice. I am no expert on mutations, but Fizzlewick over at the alchemist's shack is. He is a humble gnome who knows more about weird biology than anyone else in Wilderness of Kalen. You should take one of those tails to him. He might be able to tell us what is stirring up the wildlife. You step out of the Hearthfire Inn and into the Wilderness of Kalen. The 8 degrees Celsius chill of the morning is amplified by the persistent light rain, which slicks the tall grass and turns the dirt paths into mud. You trek northeast, the silhouette of the inn fading behind you as the landscape begins to change. The flora here is vibrant but strange, with oversized mushrooms sprouting alongside the path, hinting at the proximity of your destination. After about 45 minutes of walking, you arrive at the alchemist's shack. It is an unmistakable sight, a dwelling carved directly into the stalk and cap of a colossal bioengineered mushroom. Colorful smoke puffs rhythmically from a crooked metal chimney, smelling of sulfur and peppermint. You push aside the heavy leather flap that serves as a door and step inside. The interior is a chaotic clutter of bubbling beakers, spiraling glass tubes, and shelves packed with jars of floating specimens. In the center of the room, hopping frantically between 2 brewing cauldrons, is Fizzlewick. He is a humble gnome wearing oversized magnifying goggles and a stained lab coat that is several sizes too big.
Don't touch the blue vial. It's unstable. And mind your head on the drying herbs. Oh, a visitor? We don't get many of those. Unless you count the rats. But they are terrible conversationalists. What brings a sturdy dwarf to my humble abode?
He adjusts his goggles, his eyes magnified to comically large proportions as he looks you over. You retrieve one of the severed tails from your inventory, the flesh still twitching slightly with residual necrotic energy, and hold it out.
You, fascinating, but mostly you. Put it on the slab quickly.
Fizzlewick gestures frantically to a metal table covered in scorch marks. As you drop the giant rat tail, the gnome pulls down a complex array of lenses and spectral analyzers hovering over the specimen. He pokes it with an electrified rod, causing the tail to spasm and emit a puff of green gas.
Aha, I knew it. Look at the cellular degradation. This isn't natural evolution, my sturdy friend. This is exposure to high-grade mutagenic compounds, specifically the kind used in the old bioweapon programs.
He spins around, knocking over a stack of empty vials.
The leak is confirmed. It is coming from the Lab Alpha 9 ruins to the southwest. If we don't plug that leak, the rats will be the least of our problems. We'll have 2-headed bears by Tuesday.
Fizzlewick rummages through a drawer and tosses you a small, glowing pill.
Take this antitoxin pill. It will help keep your insides on the inside. I need you to go to the ruins. The entrance is likely guarded by the old automated security systems. They never truly sleep. Smash whatever gets in your way and bring me the canister of mutagen responsible for this mess. I can synthesize a counteragent, but I need the source.
You look at the eccentric gnome and explain that the ruins are likely crawling with security measures that are too much for one dwarf to handle alone. You ask for his assistance in the field.
Me? Go out there into the ruins?
Fizzlewick blinks behind his oversized goggles, his mouth forming a perfect O of surprise. He lets out a nervous, high-pitched laugh, waving his hands frantically.
Oh, heavens no, Master Dwarf. I am a theoretical alchemist. My field work consists of picking mushrooms in the garden, and even that is perilous enough with the aphids biting. If I leave this cauldron unattended, the biosludge will destabilize, and we will all be turned into newts within the hour.
He pauses, seeing your serious expression, and sighs, tapping his chin.
But I suppose you are right. That place is dangerous. Going alone is suicide, even for someone as sturdy as you. I cannot go, but... Aha! Wait one moment.
He scampers over to a pile of scrap metal and pulls a greasy tarp off a small, hovering construct. It looks like a copper sphere with a single glowing blue eye and a few twitching antennae.
This is Sparky. He is a work in progress, but he has a fully functional discharge coil. He can go with you, just try not to let him get wet. He rusts.
Fizzlewick pats the drone, which emits a happy beep whir and floats over to your side, hovering just above your shoulder.
There! Now you have backup. Sparky will help you zap those sentries. Now go on, fetch that canister of mutagen before the whole ecosystem turns into a soup of tentacles.
Realizing that a prototype drone might not be enough backup for a facility teeming with bioengineered horrors, you decide to expand your team. You focus your mind on the familiar warmth of the Hearthfire Inn. The plane magic swells around you, and with a soft pop of displaced air, you teleport from the rainy exterior of the alchemist's shack directly into the bustling common room of the inn. Thalgar Ironbrew blinks, nearly dropping a tankard as you materialize near the bar. By the stone, you travelers and your teleporting. Give a dwarf a heart attack, why don't you? You scan the room for potential allies. Most of the patrons look like farmers or tired merchants, but in a shadowy corner booth, illuminated by the soft glow of her own presence, sits a sun elf. She is drumming her fingers on the table, looking thoroughly bored. You approach her, Sparky floating dutifully at your shoulder, and explain your mission: the Lab Alpha 9 ruins, the mutants, and the need for a combat-capable partner. The elf looks you up and down, her golden eyes lingering on the drone.
A deep dwarf in a rusting bucket of bolts planning a raid on an ancient biolab? That sounds remarkably dangerous.
She stands up, smoothing out her robes of the dawn.
I am Solara. I was beginning to think this rain would never end, and I could use the exercise. I will join you, Rex. My fire against their corruption. Just try to keep the splashing to a minimum.
Solara has joined your party. With your squad assembled, you are ready to face the dangers of the ruins. You gather your resolve and the magical coordinates provided by Fizzlewick. With a thought, you wrap your magic around yourself, Solara, and Sparky. The warm, ale-scented air of the inn vanishes, replaced instantly by the smell of wet concrete and ozone. You materialize at the edge of the lab, Alpha 9 ruins. The rain here seems colder, hissing as it hits the exposed, rusted rebar jutting from the broken concrete slabs like shattered ribs. Red emergency lights, powered by some dying subterranean generator, pulse weakly in the darkness of the entrance tunnel, casting long, bloody shadows across the mud.
Well, this is charming. It smells of rust and ancient failure. I suppose that metal scarecrow is our welcoming committee?
Solara points a slender finger toward the heavy blast doors. Standing guard is the defective sentry. It is a hulking humanoid construct of corroded steel, its chassis pockmarked with moss and rust. As you arrive, its single optical sensor flares from a dull amber to a hostile crimson. It jerks into motion with the screech of grinding gears.
Unauthorized. Biologicals detected. Security clearance not found. Initiating. Click. Sterilization protocol. Have a nice day.
Sparky lets out a defiant chirp and spins its antenna, ready for a fight. The sentry raises a heavy arm, a built-in arc caster humming to life. You are now in combat. You shout over the drumming rain, pointing a finger at Sparky. The Sun Elf nods, her hands moving in a fluid, practiced motion. She chants. A shimmering barrier of heat and light forms around the small drone, encasing it in a flame ward granting 2.78 protection. The rain hisses as it hits the shield, turning into steam. With your ally protected, you plant your feet in the mud and focus on the looming threat. The defective sentry clanks forward, its heavy metal feet splashing in the puddles. You channel the dark entropic energies of the necrotic magic school, feeling the familiar chill run down your arm. You thrust your palm forward, unleashing a decay bolt at the construct. However, the machine reacts with surprising speed for something so old, and your spell is evaded, the green streak of energy hissing harmlessly into the wet air. Its single red eye flashes intensely, and the arc caster on its arm emits a high-pitched whine. It fires a crackling arc beam of raw tech magic in your direction. You dive aside just in time, and the beam is evaded, scorching the mud where you stood. Sparky, emboldened by the fiery shield, beeps aggressively and jets forward, closing the distance to unleash its own static discharge. The attack connects for 2.37 damage, short-circuiting the construct completely. With a final mechanical groan, the sentry collapses defeated. You take a moment to kick the smoking chassis of the defective sentry, confirming it is down for good.
Beep burp, threat neutralized.
Sparky chirps, spinning its antenna. You scavenge through the wreckage and find a piece of usable scrap metal, which you stow away in your inventory. With the entrance cleared, you proceed into the lab Alpha 9 ruins. The air inside is stagnant, smelling of old chemicals and decay. Green emergency lights flicker overhead, casting long, shifting shadows against walls lined with broken glass tanks.
This place reeks of dark magic and bad science. Let's find this canister and leave.
Solara covers her nose with a sleeve of her robes of the dawn as she follows you deeper into the facility. In the central chamber, amidst a tangle of wires and spilled fluids, you spot it. The canister of mutagen. It sits inside a cracked containment unit, glowing with a sickly green light. However, as you step forward to retrieve it, a massive shape rises from a pile of debris nearby. It is Subject Delta, a grotesque flesh golem stitched together from mismatched parts. Tubes pump glowing fluid into its muscles, and its eyes burn with a mindless rage.
Rah, smash! Intruder!
It lumbers toward you, raising a fist heavy with necrotic rot. You are in combat. You do not hesitate, channeling the necrotic energies through your ring of focus to ensure the spell strikes true. Dust to dust, you shout, unleashing a decay bolt at the lumbering Subject Delta. However, the construct lurches unexpectedly, causing your bolt to streak past it and dissipate harmlessly against the far wall. Solara adjusts her aim, her hands glowing with intense heat. "Burn away," she cries, launching a searing solar bolt that impacts the golem, scorching its plating for 1.47 fire damage. Sparky attempts to capitalize on the distraction, darting in to unleash a high-voltage static discharge. Yet the creature is too quick, twisting its torso so the arc of electricity misses entirely. Subject Delta is battered, but remains operational with 1.53 hit points, letting out a mechanical roar of defiance in the damp central chamber of the Lab Alpha 9 ruins. You do not wait for the dust to settle. With the canister of mutagen so close, you prioritize ending this quickly. You channel the necrotic energy once more, your ring of focus pulsing on your finger. Out of my way, abomination. You unleash a point-blank decay bolt aimed squarely at the chest of Subject Delta. The necrotic energy strikes true, dealing 1.95 damage and withering the construct's plating. As you sprint forward, Solara provides covering fire, launching a searing solar bolt that melts into the golem's shoulder for 1.47 damage, while Sparky zips in to deliver a shocking static discharge, dealing 2.37 damage. In its final throes, the golem swings a massive, rot-infused fist in a wide arc. The rotting smash connects hard, dealing 2.52 damage to you, but the combined barrage is too much. With a final groan of twisting metal, Subject Delta collapses, defeated, leaving the smell of ozone and rotting meat suffocating the cramped ruins of Lab Alpha 9 ruins. You stand over the twisted wreckage of Subject Delta, your chest heaving slightly from the exertion. The massive flesh golem is motionless, its animating fluids leaking onto the cold concrete floor, dissolving the moss in hissing patches.
Well, that was messy, but effective.
Solara comments, extinguishing the flames dancing on her fingertips. You turn your attention to the prize. Carefully, you reach into the cracked containment unit and grasp the canister of mutagen. It is heavy and warm to the touch, the green liquid inside swirling with a malevolent, hypnotic rhythm. As you stow it safely in your inventory, you notice a vial tucked into the debris of the golem's chassis, a potion of iron skin, likely used to fortify the creature's defenses. You take that as well.
Target acquired. Mission partially complete. Return to organic creator.
Sparky hovers close, its lens rotating to scan the exit. The death of the golem seems to have triggered a failsafe in the ruins. The emergency lights pulse faster, and a low groaning sound echoes through the pipes. It is time to leave the Lab Alpha 9 ruins and get this dangerous substance back to Fizzlewick. You gather Solara and Sparky close, visualizing the distinct, mushroom-shaped silhouette of your destination. The ozone smell of the ruins fades, replaced instantly by the pungent aroma of sulfur and peppermint as you materialize inside the alchemist's shack. Fizzlewick jumps nearly a foot in the air, knocking over a stack of empty Petri dishes.
Gah! You startled me. I nearly added the wrong reagent to the mixture. Did you get it? Did you find the canister?
You retrieve the canister of mutagen from your inventory. The green liquid inside swirls sluggishly, glowing with an eerie light. Fizzlewick's eyes widen behind his goggles as he snatches it from your hands with surprising speed.
Yes, this is it, the concentrated strain. Oh, brilliant work, my sturdy friend. Now stand back, this part can be a bit explosive.
The gnome rushes to his main workbench, slotting the canister into a complex apparatus of glass tubes and copper wiring. He pulls a lever, and the machine whirs to life, extracting the green sludge and mixing it with a blue solution. Steam hisses from the valves, filling the room with a clean, antiseptic scent. After a few tense moments, a clear, glowing liquid fills a new container.
Eureka! The counteragent is stable. Now we just need to distribute it.
He hands you a heavy brass device filled with the new blue liquid. It is an aerosol cure dispenser.
I need you to take this to the Glimmering Grove to the north. That area has been hit hardest by the mutation. Find the central mana vent, it looks like a glowing crystal formation, and attach this dispenser to it. It will release the cure into the air and neutralize the toxins. Go quickly before the damage becomes irreversible.
You tighten your grip on the aerosol cure dispenser and focus on the coordinates Fizzlewick provided. The familiar sensation of plain magic envelops you, and in an instant, the cluttered, chemical-scented air of the shack is replaced by a crisp, vibrating atmosphere. You materialize in the Glimmering Grove. It is a breathtaking and unsettling sight. The trees here have been transmuted into towering sculptures of translucent crystal, their leaves chiming softly like wind chimes in the breeze. The light filters through the canopy in fractured rainbows, dazzling the eye, but beneath the beauty lies a sense of wrongness. The magic here feels feverish and unstable.
It is beautiful, in a terrifying sort of way, like a fever dream frozen in glass.
Solara comments, her golden eyes scanning the prism-like forest. Sparky lets out a concerned whir. its sensors twitching as it detects the high radiation of wild magic. You push forward through the crystalline undergrowth, the crunch of glass-like grass under your boots echoing loudly. In the center of a clearing, you spot your objective, the Central's monavent. It is a jagged rupture in the earth, spewing multicolored gas that twists the air around it. This is where the cure must go. However, as you step toward the vent, the ground beneath you trembles. Two massive mounds of crystal shards shift and rise. They are crystalline beetle S, their carapaces glowing with volatile energy and their mandibles clacking aggressively. They block your path to the vent, hissing as they sense intruders.
More bugs. Why is it always bugs? Step aside, Rex. I will roast them.
You are now in combat. You plant your feet firmly on the shifting glass-like grass of the glimmering grove. The glimmer beetle. One clacks its mandibles, the sound echoing sharply against the crystal trees. You raise your hand, the ring of focus guiding your concentration as you channel the dark energies of the necrotic magic school. Return to the earth. You unleash a decay bolt, sending a streak of sickly green light flying toward the creature. It strikes the beetle's translucent carapace for 1.94 damage, causing immediate discoloration as the magical rot fights against the crystal structure. Beside you, Solara moves with fluid grace, ignoring the glimmer beetle 2 that is trying to flank her.
Light refractor, meet concentrated heat.
She casts Solar Bolt at the second beetle, but the creature moves with unexpected speed, causing the lance of fire to miss and sizzle harmlessly against the damp air. Meanwhile, Sparky hovers aggressively, its single eye rotating rapidly.
Discharge, coil, active, zap.
The drone releases a static discharge at Glimmer Beetle 1, but the agile insect twists away, evading the electrical arc completely. The beetles retaliate instantly. Glimmer Beetle 1 vibrates its body violently, launching a shard spray in your direction. Thousands of tiny, razor-sharp crystal fragments fly through the air like shrapnel, but you dive aside just in time, avoiding the attack. Glimmer Beetle 2, seemingly sensing the danger of the fire magic, hunkers down and activates a reflective shell, its carapace shimmering with a mirrored gloss intended to bounce off incoming attacks. You quickly dig the antitoxin pill out of your pouch and swallow it dry. A wave of cool, medicinal energy washes over you, fortifying your system against the hazardous environment of the glimmering grove. With your resilience boosted, you turn your attention to the Glimmer Beetle 2, which is still hunkering behind its shimmering carapace. Time to crack that shell. You shout, channeling the entropic power of the necrotic school through your ring of focus. You unleash a decay bolt, the dark green energy spiraling toward the beetle. The spell strikes true, inflicting 1.94 damage as the necrotic rot withers the organic material beneath the crystal, leaving the creature barely clinging to life with 0.56 health. Beside you, Solara spots the weakened state of the other insect.
I will handle the little one.
She thrusts her hand forward, casting a blazing solar bolt at Glimmer Beetle 1. The beetle's reflective shell mitigates 0.72 of the damage, but the remaining 0.75 force is enough to shatter its defenses and defeat the creature. Sparky, chirping a binary battle cry, joins your assault on the second beetle, releasing a crackling static discharge, but the agile insect skitters sideways, causing the attack to be evaded. The beetles, cornered and aggressive, retaliate in unison. Both insects vibrate their wings violently, filling the air with a razor-sharp shard spray. However, you and Solara react with honed reflexes, twisting out of the path of the projectiles and ensuring both attacks are completely evaded. You focus on the wounded Glimmer Beetle 2, its reflective shell cracked and dulling. You raise your hand one last time, channeling the necrotic energy through your ring of focus. Ashes to ashes, you unleash the decay bolt, but the creature proves deceptively agile. It skitters rapidly to the side, causing your spell to evade completely. The necrotic energy splashes harmlessly against the cavern floor, dissolving rock instead of beetle. The creature lets out a defiant hiss, clinging to life with 0.56 health remaining.
It's not down yet. Stay sharp.
Solara keeps her flames ignited, realizing the fight isn't over. Sparky rotates its sensors, tracking the moving target.
Threat, persistent, combat, continuing.
The Glimmer Beetle. 2 still bars the path to the central mana vent. You must finish this before you can tend to the rupture. You do not give the creature a chance to recover. Focusing your will through the ring of focus, you channel the necrotic energy once more. End of the line, Bug. You cast Decay Bolt, launching a streak of entropic green light towards the target. However, the Glimmer Beetle. 2 moves with unexpected speed, skittering sideways to evade the attack completely. The necrotic energy sizzles harmlessly against the ground as the beetle turns to face you, mandibles clicking furiously. It remains standing with 0.56 hit points, barring your path to the central mana vent. "Cover me!" you shout to your companions, sprinting across the crystalline grass toward the central mana vent.
On it, burn, you pest!
Solara yells, stepping between you and the remaining beetle. She channels her fire magic, hurling a solar bolt that sears into the carapace of Glimmer Beetle 2 for 1.47 damage. The creature screeches as the flames consume it, dissolving it into a pile of harmless, smoking glass shards. Sparky chirps a victory tune. With the path clear, you reach the jagged rupture in the earth. The colorful, toxic gas hisses violently, distorting the air. You retrieve the aerosol cure dispenser from your inventory and slam it into the main fissure of the vent. The brass device hums, locking into place, and immediately begins to vent the synthesized blue counter-agent. The reaction is instantaneous. A massive shockwave of blue energy ripples out from the vent, washing over the glimmering grove. The translucent crystal trees vibrate and then shatter, revealing healthy, organic bark underneath. The glass grass softens into lush green vegetation. The oppressive, feverish feeling of the wild magic dissipates, replaced by the clean scent of rain and earth. Your interface pings with a completion notice. As the grove settles, your MBI buzzes with an incoming video call. It is Thalgor Ironbrew. "Rex, I don't know what you did, but the magical readings in the area just stabilized completely. The glimmering grove is returning to normal. You've done Kalen's Crossing a massive service." He pauses, looking down at something on his end. "However, no rest for the wicked. Since you handled this so well, I picked up a distress signal from the north. The miners in the Chromium Ridges are reporting that their automated excavators are going haywire. If you are up for it, head north. Level 2 threats, but I think you can handle it." With the restoration of the glimmering grove complete, the air feels lighter, and the frantic chittering of mutated insects has been replaced by the soothing rustle of healthy leaves. Thus, you take a deep breath, enjoying the moment of peace, but your mind is already turning toward the challenges ahead in the Chromium Ridges. Better gear up if you are heading north, Rex. The machines there pack a punch, and the cold isn't forgiving. Thalgor's advice echoes in your memory. You blink twice to activate your Magic Brain interface. A translucent holographic menu expands in your vision, overlaying the serene forest with a bustle of digital commerce. You navigate to the Marketplace tab and filter for gear suitable for a sturdy adventurer. The listings scroll by, displaying holograms of various equipment being sold by traders across the network. 3 items catch your eye as particularly useful for your upcoming expedition. Insulated treads. A pair of heavy-duty boots lined with fur and enchanted rubber. They look perfect for traversing frozen terrain and offer protection against electrical discharges. Goggles of clarity. A set of brass-rimmed eyewear with multi-layered lenses. The description claims they help cut through snow glare and identify weak points in mechanical foes. Tunic of the Stone Guard. A reinforced leather vest reinforced with thin slate plates. It appears heavy, but offers excellent protection against physical blows. Your token balance sits at 42.90. You can purchase any of these items instantly with a thought, or continue your journey north with what you have. You tap the filter icon floating in your vision, narrowing the search parameters to Survival and Vitality. The list of goods shimmers and reorganizes, filtering out the utility goggles and specialized boots to focus on raw durability. The marketplace algorithm, sensing your intent to bolster your health for the dangers ahead, pushes 3 specific items to the forefront of your display. Band of Vitality. A simple, polished copper ring that feels warm to the touch. It is enchanted to synchronize with the wearer's heartbeat, strengthening their life force. Oxheart Pendant. A heavy iron amulet shaped like the head of a stubborn ox. It is a favorite among frontline fighters for the rugged endurance it provides. Heartwood Charm. A small wooden trinket carved from the core of an ancient oak. It pulses with a slow, steady green light, offering the resilience of the forest itself. Your current balance is 21.85 tokens. These items are all within your price range, though buying all of them might leave you light on funds for other supplies. Thalgor Ironbrew did warn that the machines in the chromium ridges hit hard, so a little extra health could be the difference between victory and a forced respawn. You dismiss the survival gear listings, deciding that while defense is important, the best way to handle tough enemies like the machines in chromium ridges is to rot them away while you stay mobile. You tap the filter settings on your MBI, clearing Survival and selecting Necrotic Magic combined with Damage over Time. The marketplace algorithm reorganizes the holographic grid, replacing the sturdy tunics and amulets with icons that pulse with a sickly green and purple aura. 3 scrolls float to the foreground, offering exactly the kind of insidious magic you're looking for. Pestilence. A standard but effective curse. You cast it from a distance, and it infects the target's mana stream, causing necrotic damage that ticks away at their health over time. It is perfect for hit-and-run tactics. Toxic Cloud. This spell conjures a lingering cloud of corrosive gas in a targeted area. Any enemy foolish enough to stand in it, or slow enough to get caught, suffers continuous damage. It is excellent for crowd control against groups of weaker foes. Withering Grip. A risky but powerful spell that requires you to be in melee range. Upon contact, it infects the target with a fast-acting rot that deals significant damage over time. It hits harder than the ranged options, but exposes you to counterattacks. Your token balance remains at 21.90. Each of these spells is well within your budget, leaving you enough left over for a potion or 2 if you are thrifty. Which one calls to your darker nature? You finalize the purchase of the pestilent scroll, feeling the weight of the dark magic settle into your inventory. It is a nasty piece of work, perfect for rotting away the durasteel plating of the constructs you expect to face. However, Thalgor Ironbrew's warning about the hard-hitting excavators in the chromium ridges lingers in your mind. You need to be able to take a hit as well as you can dish one out. You swipe away the necrotic filter and select the golden sigil of the Divine Magic School. You refine the search parameters to buffs. The marketplace interface shifts from gloomy purples to brilliant, comforting whites and golds. 3 scrolls float to the top of the list, promising protection and power. Shield of Faith, a staple for any adventurer heading into danger. This spell wraps the caster in a shimmering barrier of holy light, effectively boosting your hit points by soaking up damage that would otherwise harm you. It is simple, reliable, and efficient. Guiding Light. The mountains can be blinding, and the machines agile. This spell calls upon divine foresight to guide your attacks, significantly increasing your hit chance. A missed attack is a wasted turn, after all. Blessing of Strength. Sometimes the best defense is a stronger offense. This invocation fills you with righteous power, increasing the damage of all your spells for a short duration. Your token balance is currently 10.91. You have enough funds to secure one of these blessings to aid you in the frozen north. You focus your mind on the small hovering construct at your side. Drawing upon the divine magic you have recently studied, you raise a hand and chant the incantation for a shield of faith. Your proficiency with the divine arts enhances the weave, bolstering the effect by an additional 0.28 points. A sphere of warm golden light erupts from your palm and envelops Sparky, securing the drone with a total barrier strength of 3.09. The light coalesces into a shimmering, translucent barrier that hums with protective energy before fading slightly to become a faint halo around the drone.
Beepware, shielding optimized, integrity boosted, gratitude registered.
Solara adjusts her robes of the dawn and nods approvingly.
Good thinking. That little metal ball is going to need all the help it can get if we are facing heavy machinery up north. Those excavators do not play nice.
With your team fortified and your preparations complete, you are ready to head towards the chromium ridges to investigate the distress signal from the miners. The rain continues to fall softly in the glimmering grove, but your path leads to colder climates. You focus your mind on the coordinates for the chromium ridges. The humid, rain-slicked air of the glimmering grove vanishes in a swirl of plain magic, instantly replaced by a biting, dry cold that stings your exposed skin. You materialize on a snow-swept plateau, the ground beneath your boots hard as iron. The landscape is a stark contrast to the lush wilderness you left behind. Jagged peaks of gray stone pierce the white sky, their faces veined with shimmering streaks of raw chromium that reflect the dull light. The wind howls through the canyons, carrying fine ice crystals that scour everything they touch.
By the sun, it is freezing. My flames are going to have to work overtime just to keep my blood moving.
Solara wraps her robes of the dawn tighter around herself, her breath misting heavily in the frigid air. Sparky hovers close to the ground, the shield of faith you cast earlier shimmering visibly against the driving snow.
Temperature suboptimal, hull integrity holding, heating element engaged.
Ahead of you lies the Iron Frost excavation site. It looks less like a camp and more like a besieged fortress. Heavy durasteel barricades have been erected in a hurried circle, and you can see several overturned minecarts smoking in the snow. Pacing anxiously near the main gate is a stocky figure clad in heavy thermal furs and plate armor. It is Foreman Cragg, a ground dwarf with a beard frozen into a solid block of ice. He spots you and waves his arms frantically, shouting over the wind. "Hey, you there! Are you the help Ironbrew sent? Get in here before the machines come back for round 2. You trudge through the accumulating drifts of heavy snow, the wind whipping at your cloak as you approach the barricades of the Iron Frost excavation site. Foreman Cragg meets you at the gate, his beard frosted white and his heavy thermal armor clanking with each step. He looks you up and down, his eyes narrowing slightly as he recognizes your heritage. A deep dwarf. Eh? Did not expect one of your kin to be wandering these frozen peaks. Usually, you lot stick to the deep warmth of the under-earth. But I am not complaining. If Iron Brew sent you, you must be capable. He gestures frantically towards the north, where dark smoke rises against the gray sky. We have a major situation at the Sector 7 mines. The automated excavators, big, heavy tech magic constructs, have gone completely haywire. They turned on the crew about an hour ago. We think the Frost Gnoll scavengers might have messed with their control runes, trying to strip them for parts, but triggered a defense protocol instead. Solara shivers violently, pulling her robes of the dawn tighter.
Machines going mad in a blizzard. How utterly delightful. Can we please destroy them quickly? My fire is the only thing keeping me from freezing solid out here.
Sparky beeps in agreement, its single eye scanning the horizon.
Target confirmed. Hostile machinery detected. North. Recommendation: scrap them.
Cragg nods grimly. Aye, scrap them is right. There are 3 of them tearing up the main pit. If they breach the perimeter here, we are done for. Go to Sector 7 and put those haywire excavator-s down. And watch out for the gnolls. They are likely still lurking around picking off the scraps. Your interface updates as the objective becomes clear. The path to the mines lies open before you, treacherous and cold. You nod to Foreman Cragg and turn your face against the biting wind. Let's get this done. Try to keep your circuits warm, Sparky. You leave the relative safety of the Iron Frost excavation site and push north. The trek is arduous. The snow drifts are knee-deep, and the visibility is reduced to a few dozen meters by the whiteout conditions of the heavy snow. Solara keeps a small flame hovering near her chest, acting as a beacon and a heat source. I prefer the humidity of the jungle to this frozen hell, she mutters, her teeth chattering slightly. After 20 minutes of trudging through the storm, the ground beneath you begins to vibrate rhythmically. The smell of diesel and ozone cuts through the crisp air. You crest a ridge and look down into the Sector 7 mines. It is a chaotic scene. 3 massive, yellow-painted constructs are tearing at the frozen earth with manic, jerky movements. Their warning lights flash a distressed orange, and their engines roar with an uneven, grinding cadence. These are the Haywire Excavator Unit 7, Haywire Excavator Unit 8, and Haywire Excavator Unit 9. As you slide down the scree slope into the pit, Haywire Excavator Unit 8 swivels its upper chassis. Its optical sensors lock onto you, shifting from orange to a combat-ready red.
Error. Organic obstruction detected. Protocol. Flatten.
They've seen us, Solara shouts, her hands flaring with fire. Sparky chirps an alarm and deploys its weapon systems. The machines rumble forward, their heavy treads crushing the rocks beneath them. You are now in combat. You do not take any chances with the hulking machines bearing down on you. Sparky, hold still. Solara, defensive positions. Buff up, you shout over the roaring wind. You raise your hand, your ring of focus glowing with a soft, holy luminescence as you channel divine magic. You cast Shield of Faith once more on the drone. The existing barrier flares brightly, the golden energy thickening with 3.09 points of potency and stabilizing into a dense, hexagonal lattice around the small construct.
Defenses reinforced. Structural integrity maximum. Ready to rumble.
Solara nods, her eyes narrowing as she looks at the approaching excavators. On it! I am not getting squashed by some mining equipment gone rogue. She snaps her fingers, and a swirling barrier of fire erupts around her. Ignis Custodia, she chants, casting Flame Ward on herself. The ward solidifies with 2.78 points of protection, the flames roaring for a moment before settling into a shimmering heat haze that distorts the air around her, melting the snowflakes before they can touch her skin. The three machines, Haywire Excavator Unit 7, Haywire Excavator Unit 8, and Haywire Excavator Unit 9, rumble forward with terrifying momentum. Their heavy treads churn the snow into black slush as they close the distance from 15 meters to 5 meters, their bucket wheels spinning up with a deafening screech. Sparky seizes the initiative, darting forward to unleash a static discharge at the lead machine. Haywire Excavator Unit 8. However, the heavy construct shifts unexpectedly, causing the arc of blue electricity to ground harmlessly into the ice. The Haywire Excavator Unit 8 evades the attack completely, taking 0 damage and continuing its advance unimpeded. You quickly rummage through your belt pouches, pulling out 2 vials of red liquid. Catch, drink these, then scrap them. You toss a minor healing potion to Solara and another to Sparky. Solara snatches the vial from the air, uncorks it with her thumb, and downs it in one gulp.
Ah, that hits the spot. Vitality restoring. Now let's melt some metal.
The magical liquid glows briefly through her skin, knitting together bruises and scrapes. Sparky extends a manipulator arm, catches the potion, and pours it directly into an intake valve.
Coolant levels, rising, structural integrity, repairing, ready for combat logic.
While your team recovers, you turn your attention back to the lumbering machines. You raise your ring of focus, targeting the Haywire Excavator Unit 8 that had evaded the drone earlier. Rust and ruin. You cast Pestilence. No, you chose the direct approach. You cast Decay Bolt. The streak of necrotic energy flies true this time, guided by your proficiency in the dark arts which allows the spell to bite deeper. It splashes against the excavator's chassis, instantly corroding the plating and dealing 1.94 damage. The machine shudders, its warning lights flickering wildly as its health drops to 0.76. However, the constructs are relentless. Haywire Excavator Unit 7 Tor, Haywire Excavator Unit 8 Tors, and Haywire Excavator Unit 9 roar in unison, their engines belching black smoke. They rumble forward, closing the final distance with terrifying speed. The ground shakes as they crash into melee range, their massive bucket wheels spinning ominously right in front of your faces. You ignore the biting cold of the chromium ridges and the roaring wind, focusing entirely on the damaged construct before you. Haywire Excavator Unit 8 is leaking hydraulic fluid onto the white snow, its movements jerky and erratic. Time to shut you down for good. You raise your ring of focus and channel the dark energies of necrotic magic once more. With a sharp gesture, you cast Decay Bolt. The machine's heavy plating mitigates much of the impact, reducing the damage to 0.81. But the withering green energy seeps into the critical components. It is enough. The unit shudders violently and powers down, defeated. To your left, Solara dances through the snowdrifts, her flame ward shimmering against the blizzard.
I will keep the big one busy. You focus on yours.
She gathers a ball of intense fire in her palm and hurls a solar bolt at Haywire Excavator Unit 7. The flames roar in defiance of the freezing temperature, scorching the chassis for 1.47 damage. Sparky, protected by your shield of faith, hovers aggressively near the third machine.
Targeting. Unit 9. Initiating. Voltage. Spike.
The drone unleashes a crackling static discharge, but Haywire Excavator Unit 9 lurches aside, causing the attack to be evaded completely. The remaining machines, driven by their corrupted programming, retaliate with mechanical fury. Haywire Excavator Unit 7 revs its engine and swings a massive piston-driven arm at Solara, landing a crushing pneumatic punch for 2.04 damage. Meanwhile, Haywire Excavator Unit 9 closes in on Sparky, its spinning bucket wheel battering the drone for 2.04 damage. You spot Sparky listing dangerously to one side, its chassis smoking from the impact of the excavator's bucket wheel. You know the drone can't take another hit like that. You reach into your belt pouch and retrieve your last minor healing potion. Catch, Sparky, drink up, we need you in one piece. You toss the vial through the driving snow. Sparky extends a manipulator arm with surprising speed, snatching the potion from the air. It quickly uncorks the vial and pours the contents into its emergency intake valve.
Maintenance protocol accepted. Structural integrity restoring. Gratitude acknowledged.
With your companion momentarily secured, you pivot on your heel to face the damaged construct. Haywire Excavator Unit 7. The machine is leaking hydraulic fluid and sparking, but still dangerous. Your shift is over. You channel your will through the ring of focus, summoning the entropic power of the necrotic magic school. You cast Decay Bolt, sending a streak of sickly green energy hurtling toward the excavator's exposed engine block. The spell strikes true, dealing 1.94 damage. The metal instantly corrodes and crumbles, and Haywire Excavator Unit 7 collapses into the snow, defeated.
I will keep the other one busy. Burn.
Beside you, Solara shifts her aim to the last fully operational machine, Haywire Excavator Unit 9. She hurls a solar bolt, the fire hissing as it cuts through the blizzard to strike for 1.47 damage. Sparky, reinvigorated by the potion, joins her assault, releasing a crackling static discharge. Although the machine's thick plating mitigates the shock, Sparky still inflicts 1.75 damage. The combined assault is too much. Haywire Excavator Unit 9 sparks violently and shuts down, silence finally returning to the snowy landscape. You gather your team in the swirling snow, the wreckage of the Haywire Excavator Unit 7, Haywire Excavator Unit 8, and Haywire Excavator Unit 9 smoking around you. Good work, team. Let's get out of this freezer and report back. You close your eyes and visualize the warm, inviting interior of the Hearthfire Inn. The biting cold of the chromium ridges fades, replaced instantly by the smell of roasting meat and wood smoke as you teleport across the map. You materialize in the center of the inn's common room in the wilderness of Kalin. Solara immediately lets out a long, contented sigh, her flames brightening as the ambient temperature rises.
Oh, sweet warmth. I thought my toes were going to snap off.
Sparky shakes off a layer of frost, its rotors whirring happily as the ice melts.
Temperature optimal. Systems thawing. Comfort high.
Thalgor Ironbrew looks up from behind the bar, a wide grin spreading across his face as he sees you. Rex, you're back! And by the look of it, you haven't frozen to death. I take it the miners are safe. You nod and confirm that the excavators have been dismantled. Thalgor slaps the counter triumphantly. Fantastic! Crag sent a message just moments ago saying the tremors have stopped. You've saved us a lot of trouble, friend. Here's your share of the bounty. As you pocket the reward, Thalgor leans in closer, his expression turning serious. Since you handled that so well, I have another issue. A courier carrying important documents for the guild went missing near the festering bioswamp to the southeast. It's a nasty place, full of chemical runoff and mutated bog creatures. I need you to find his satchel. I fear the worst for the lad, but the documents must be recovered.
Feel the pulse, a shimmering light in our veins, a magic might. Deep in the mountain, shadows creep, necrotic power from secrets they keep. On the surface, the ground holds fast, earth and strength, a spell is cast. Sun elves climb the peak so high, fingertips blaze against the sky. Moon elves wander through the night, whispering wilds a mystic sign. This is Sciasy, the force within, a brand new world